If you hear me!
What's good, people, and welcome back to another episode of Holla If You Hear Me's Hot Takes. Yes, where we'll be delving deep into the interweb to find Reddit's wildest and outlandish takes. I'm your humble host, Fraz, and joining me, as always, is the kayfabe assassin, Mr. Andy Nero, and the ring historian himself, Dirty Senor David. But before we get into the video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And my screen has just gone to dark mode. How about that? Dark mode for dark hot takes I've got. How are you, boys?
Doing well, mate. Doing well.
All good.
Might need to come a bit closer. Sorry, Dave.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'll eat the mic.
If you can. Over to you, David.
All good, my man. I'm looking forward to these hot takes because last week there was some very controversial opinions from some very interesting people.
What do you think of my new assailant here?
Your little assistant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has
who he is.
has Kurt Angle with a broken freaking neck decided to sit on your neck that isn't broken?
Chest. No, absolutely not. He's just nestled
Just chilling.
close to my heart. My pig's
Just chilling.
Okay, let's get into it. First one I have here is Seth and Punk. What's the relationship like between Seth and Punk? These two aren't exactly grabbing drinks after the show. You can feel the tension every time they talk about each other. Years of subtle jabs, side eyes, and that underlying fuck this guy energy. But here's the thing, this ain't Brett versus Sean. It's not full-on locker room war. It's more like, I respect you enough to not murder you, but I'm still going to stiff the hell out of you between those ropes. They don't need to be buddies, they just need to be pros. And say what you want about either one, they're both too damn good at their craft to let personal heat ruin business. You watch their matches, there's tension, edge to every strike. That ain't by accident. This isn't friendship, this is two top-tier egos coexisting, and honestly, that makes their matches even better.
I mean, it's hard to say, really. I mean, eagle-eye viewers of the Unreal documentary will have noticed that during, I think it was the Elimination Chamber booking segment, or they were talking about Rumble or something, but Seth and Punk were stood around in a sort of circle talking about booking the match, and they seem perfectly amicably able to deal with whatever they're doing in person. So I don't know. I think a lot of it's for show. Seth, obviously, as we now know, is not adverse to leading us astray with some of the details of his life. So
There was a situation where I believe Punk winked at Seth Rollins, maybe. Was it a WrestleMania? I read it somewhere the other day. But yeah, I actually asked this question. I was going to ask one of you two about it, whether their heat was real, whether they really did hate each other, or whether it was just a work. Because it's not unusual for two guys at the top to like dislike each other, but they genuinely seem to have disdain.
Two very different people with very different styles of business, but I think Seth was upset with some bits that Punk did, especially the way he left, and then they were supposed to be friends, and Seth tried to reach out to him, and he never sort of replied. I think he took that personally, and then but I think where we're at now, I think it's business. I think it's all business. That I don't think they're going to go out and party, but I don't think there's a problem there anymore. They're just very, very different people. Not everybody playing on the same team or wants to go to the same pub.
Fair play.
I think there's I think a lot can be said, though, for the fact that, don't forget, Punk left the WWE because he was fired on his wedding day. It's not like he left because he wanted the place to be better. He wanted people like Daniel Bryan to get the main event, like he deserved. So arguably Punk leaving and having that conversation led to Seth Rollins' rise. So maybe Seth should be thanking the fact that Punk went away. Maybe.
It's an interesting take. I don't agree with it whatsoever. And with that, I will move on to the next hot take. We don't always need a 5-star match. Sometimes we do just need two guys beating the shit out of each other. David?
100%. 100%. It's not a real sport. It's entertainment. You need a beginning, a middle, and an end. They can't all be the same, otherwise there's no differentiation. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do need a variety. There are people out there that are capable of putting on fantastic matches, but because of the characters or the storylines they're in, or the things they've chosen to do, mean that that's not what's right for the story. Undertaker's a classic example of that. Back in the day, hardly did anything for the first 3 years he was there, in terms of moves and So, no, you just need to have a strong character. You need to be able to get people emotionally invested. And Goldust said you can do that in 30 seconds if you know what you're doing, and that's what it is. So if you're good, absolutely don't need a 5-star match. Having said that, we all love a good 5-star match. Everyone likes to see a good match, but give you an example. If you watch 2 days of SummerSlam, if every single one of those matches was 5-star, what stands out? What's the story? What did that achieve? Yeah, more people should have the opportunity to have 5-star matches, but do you need them? No.
Andy?
I think I agree with what Dave's saying up to a point. My biggest thing, and he did touch on it, is the fact that there are people out there that can have 5-star matches that don't. And the one that immediately springs to mind for me in this moment is WrestleMania 34, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh.
They had the opportunity and the build and the booking to go out and recreate Wrestle Kingdom 10 and blow the fucking house down. Like, literally just blow the roof off the place. And whether it was down to Vince being in charge at the time, or production, or time management, who knows? Either way, they had a stinker, and it was nowhere near as good as both men are capable of. And we know that both men are capable of excellent matches. So that's one example of one that I think, if you can and it fits the story, absolutely take it on, do it. But it doesn't need it every time. You can have Rusev and Sheamus beating each other up and big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. I thought that was a real shame. And, you go back 9 years before that, and Taker and Michaels at 25 were told they were going to go third, and they've got 20 minutes, including entrances, and they both turned around and went, well, we won't go out then, because we've got 45 minutes and we're doing this, because it's a fantastic story. Different place, WrestleMania 34, different people. Nakamura and AJ weren't in a position to pull that card. And yeah, you're right. So, yeah, 100% people out there have missed opportunities. And there should be more of a chance. I think longer matches on pay-per-view or PLEs give more people an opportunity to have a better match, because there's only 4 matches on most PLEs. But these big 2-night ones, you can't. At best you can have 2, can't you? 1 each night, really. Otherwise, it loses its pizzazz.
I also think at a PLE, you're expecting the matches to be a lot better, aren't you? Unless they have a stipulation attached to them, you're not really expecting it to be an all-out brawl. You do want higher quality matches. That's the reason why they sell these, don't they? And obviously build the story up for you to be invested in it. But yeah, I'm just touching on. I'm playing devil's advocate here, Andy. I mean, surely the wrestlers have to hold themselves accountable as well, though. It's not purely down to creative that book the match. Like, if the wrestlers are not, I'm saying AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura obviously were legendary wrestlers who could put on a 5-star match, but on that occasion, I think they also have to take a little bit of the brunt on that one.
Well, I would be surprised if they didn't say we want to do this and we want to do that and we want it to be hard hitting and we want it to be impactful like it was at Wrestle Kingdom, because I mean they literally beat the shit out of each other for the best part of 20 minutes. And granted, they probably didn't have 20 minutes to do that. Maybe, you know, including entrances bell to bell, maybe. But yeah,
Maybe.
I think it's hard to say, really. Yeah, maybe.
I think Austin always used to say, ask for forgiveness, not for permission. Because if you go out there and you tear the house down and the crowd go nuts and you make Vince money, you can come back and say, sorry, I went off script. But, you know, we just felt it out there. You ask before you go out, and he's not invested in the story and he doesn't understand it because he wouldn't have watched Wrestle Kingdom, for example. And this story has happened for hundreds of superstars over the years. You're just not going to get there.
Okay, next one. Am I just an asshole, or has the "This is awesome" chant just totally lost its luster? It feels like every week Raw and SmackDown both have an above average match, and we hear the "This is awesome" chant. It just feels like every crowd wants to have their chance to do it. Just like every crowd has to run back Jay's theme song. Is it annoying to anybody else, or am I just being the asshole?
If I may, This Is Awesome has massively jumped the shark. In the same way that What has jumped the shark, it's just not it. And to the point where they're actually playing it. I think there was earlier on in the year, post WrestleMania, after the European tour, there was some really fucking dog shit Raws and SmackDowns, and you'd have like a match between fucking Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green, and then playing over the crowd who are sitting on their hands, "This is awesome," and it's like, this is so disingenuous. It's so obvious that the crowd isn't doing that. It's you playing the soundbite over.
So obvious this isn't awesome. Yeah.
Well, exactly. So I think, yeah, massively jumped the shark, and yeah, I could do without it from here on out.
Yeah, it's definitely lost its pizzazz. I mean, when was it last correct? I mean, can it, you know, when was the last time you heard "This is awesome" and you like agreed with it, like, and you had goosebumps and you had the do you know what I mean? Right. So yeah, it's it has lost it a bit, hasn't it? Let's be fair.
I mean, I'm going to be me again and say I'm not really too worried about it. I don't listen to it and get an emotion from it. Like, we've just had SummerSlam, and there were 4 tables, 2 stacked on 2, and did the Street Profits might go through there? Yeah. And the bit when they threw Montez Ford into the ropes, and he flew over the fucking ladder, I think, of everyone. And I was just like, oh my god, holy shit, that is awesome. But I never kind of pay attention to what the crowd are chanting unless they're shouting obscenities at someone. But I know what you mean, especially, and I hate it when they pipe it in. That's a bit of a pet hate. Next one's for you, Dave. HBK's back was likely healed by the year 2000. Michael's addiction was the real reason he was kept out.
Yeah.
True or false?
True.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was. He kept him under contract when he was injured to start with, and then he kept him under contract to stop him from going to WCW. Could he have wrestled full time? Could he? I mean, I think what people seem to forget is that Michaels didn't wrestle full time after he lost the title in 1996. So he lost the title at Survivor Series in 96. He didn't wrestle again until the Royal Rumble 1997. He then did a couple of house shows and then forfeited the title. Then went off for 3 months, came back in May. And from May of 97 to when he broke his back at the Royal Rumble 98, which is 7 months, he only wrestled TV matches or pay-per-views. I think. Oh, he did do 2 house shows. One where he started a Riot. So he wasn't in great shape. There's no question about it. But could he have come back and wrestled? Yes, of course he could, to some degree. by 2001, he was supposed to be at WrestleMania 17, but he got sent home as the night WCW and WWE. WWE bought WCW and they did the simulcast. Michael was supposed to be part of the show, and they sent him home because he was off his face. And it's ironic that he came back and started wrestling again and got a new contract in 2002 when WCW disappeared, and there was no risk of him going anywhere else.
I didn't realise it was that bad.
But I'd have done the same if I was him. You're going to get paid to sit home. You're going to get your guaranteed contract from 96, because he had a 6-year deal from 96 to 2002. So yeah, sit at home, fine. Get paid, result, why not? He wrestled in 2000 anyway, wrestled for his wrestling school promotion. He had a no-holds-barred street fight thing. I think it was June of 2000. So, yeah.
Andy, any thoughts on...
Yeah, I mean, he still appeared. Like, he was still there in from 97 up to 2000, and it was only in 2001 when he really fucked off, and then obviously came back in 2002 with the NWO. But yeah, I mean, like, he was still doing TV appearances. He was the commish, so they kept him under wraps. They kept him in the public eye, but without him wrestling. So there was obviously a reason for it. Very possibly to do with the fact that he was addicted to painkillers. Also, obviously, during that time, he got married to his lovely wife, and found our Lord and Saviour, as it were, and became Christ Boy, God Boy Kid. So yeah, I mean, yeah,
okay.
I think it's fair.
This one's for you, Andy.
Go on, then.
Nick Khan create the story about Shane being a dick at the Rumble to get him fired, then using that void to make a power grab with Stephanie and Triple H by leaking that story about Vince and the payoffs.
No, that's some tinfoil hat bullshit. Because he literally, there's a point where I can't remember. There's a backstage video of him standing backstage at the Rumble, having booked himself to come out number 28 and Randy at 27, and they play Shane's music at 27, and Randy's like, "Well, I'm not going out," and Shane's like, "Well, I guess I'll have to go out then." So I think he was a dick. Like, he tried to book himself, a la COVID or whenever it was he was declared the best wrestler in the world. So he was a bit of a helm, shall we say? I don't think that's true.
David?
Yeah, I mean, if the only conspiracy or potential we could have for why... I suppose the question is, why did Shane try such a power play at the Rumble? Very close to when all this comes out about Vince, so he, maybe he thought this was his run, this was going to be his chance, shit was going to hit the fan, and he was in a better position with the board with Nick Khan, and he had more friends he thought he had more friends than he'd had in the past, and it all backfired, I think. Yeah, and obviously, but yeah, it all happened a bit too soon because Vince was still there and Vince dealt with it. Yeah, I think he shot his wad a bit early. I think if he'd have hung on a couple of months, things would have been very different.
A conversation for another time, perhaps. A round table of some sort. So this is a hot take that I only have just heard. Macho Man and Stephanie McMahon had a fling. I only believe this one so much because of how buried Macho is and was on WWE TV. After the fall of WCW, it's like they go out of their way not to mention him. So weird. Dave?
Well, that rumour's been around for a long time, but I think Stephanie would have been... So we're talking 94, so Stephanie would have been, what, 16, 17? Not sure on that one. One thing that makes me think no is that the first Raw that Randy wasn't there doing commentary, Vince does a one-on-one with the camera and says thank you to Randy Savage and what a legend he was and all the best in the future and all that kind of stuff. Really heartfelt sort of 5-minute little tribute to him. And he never did that for anyone else. Could be that he didn't know what was going on at the time, maybe, and then they found out later. But I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know.
Interesting one though. I would have never. I've never heard that, and I would never
Yeah.
put those two together.
It's an old one.
It's fucking wild. Andy?
I've heard that before, and I've seen the picture. There's a picture of Steph sitting on his lap, and they're all very, very cozy. Whether it crossed that line between friends and benefits, who knows? Obviously, given the sensitive nature of the situation, it'd be pretty hard to come back from. But yeah, look. At the end of the day, there's only two people that are going to ever really know the absolute truth, and one of them's dead. So,
Yeah, I mean they've got him. I know he's not back, but you got to remember he made one appearance, I think, for TNA after WCW went under, and he could barely move. Bless him. I mean, I'm a massive Randy Savage fan, so I'm not slating him, but I mean he was not going to come back to WWE and wrestle. I don't know where he'd have fitted in, and I don't know what wage demands he'd have had. But, you know, he came back on computer games. They made specific DVDs for him. They've done tributes for him. He's in the Hall of Fame. I don't think they buried him on TV. You know, he was on, 2002, the music video on the Raw where we go from WWF to WWE. Ric Flair does this big music video, basically saying goodbye to WWF. He's heavily in that video. So, nah. I know it's a business, they can make money off him, but still, if that was that bad, that personal about your daughter, you wouldn't, would you?
yeah, but it's Vince. He did come up with the idea of having Stephanie pregnant with his own child. So.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's another roundtable debate. Vince McMahon's turned down or failed storylines.
We're trying to do short form videos, not Vince McMahon 2-hour fucking videos.
God, yeah.
Well, we'd be here for about 8 hours, wouldn't we? I've got one more question. This is one that I've made up. And so these wrestlers, these are 80s wrestlers. I'll go to you first, Andy. Pick your favourite out of these guys.
Go on then.
Dusty Rhodes, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Jake the Snake Roberts, Rowdy Piper, or Hacksaw.
Jake.
And
you
why?
You know me, I love character work and mic work, and the guy was a genius on the mic. He set the standard. He's the standard bearer for all promo work from here on out. He would whisper into the mic, so you couldn't hear it. You had to really listen into what he was saying, and when you listened, it was dark as fuck. Like, amazing heel work. But yeah, phenomenal, excellent.
Dave, I've got a different selection of wrestlers for you.
No. Can I just quickly say I completely agree 100% with Andy. The absolute master of psychology, and the best thing about Jake is he didn't change at all when he went face.
No, he was still dark and
He's still everything he did as a heel, he just did as a face. But of course, you believed more in the story because it was a bit more fun. But yeah, that was great.
So just to cap the video off, Dave, Coco Beware, Kamala, Bad News Brown, Harley Race, Bob Backlund, or Greg the Hammer Valentine.
I mean, it'd be pretty difficult not to go with Harley Race or Bob Backlund, wouldn't it, really?
Now, who was your favourite? Like, that could be for any reason. Doesn't have to be who's the most successful.
Well, Harley was done in the 80s. By the time he got to WWF, he was the king. He was in pretty bad shape. Backlund wasn't a big fan. Never was. Appreciated what he could do, but he never really done it for me. Loved a bit of Coco, high energy. Has one of the best Rumble eliminations ever. He high cross bodies himself over the top rope in 1990. Absolutely fantastic. But I did used to like Bad News Brown. Or Bad News
Yeah.
Allen, because I used to watch some of the Stampede Wrestling when he was up there. It had one of the first ladder matches with Bret Hart as well. But yeah, no, Bad News Brown with the Ghetto Blaster as the finisher, which was a double insecurity to the back of the head.
Magic.
And whenever he was in a tag match, he'd just walk off and leave his partner because he does not do friends. That was always good. So Survivor Series was always a nightmare if you had him on his team. So yeah, I'll go with Bad News. I've got the
Bad
original.
News Brown.
The original. I've got some bad news for you.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of Hot Takes. Please like, share, subscribe. If you have any that you want us to refer to on next week's episode, please leave a comment. We'll be happy to pick the bones from it. But until then, thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time.